Hello all, this is Rajesh. Welcome to my YouTube channel, T-Freeze Coding. Let's do a recap. In the last two videos, we discussed about a business case. I will go over the business case one more time. In enterprise, we might have uh, a HR system like a SAP HR module that stores the employee data, and then the business need is to get a copy of the employee data and move it to a destination system. The source system has the ability to provide the data as a CSV file. So in the first video, we were able to create a brand new application and then able to pass the CSV file and then uh, display those data in the console. That's being done. In the second video, we were able to create the different different layers. There is the different projects, and then add it into a solution. That is done. The third piece is right here. We're gonna work on sending the data to the destination system. Let's assume the destination system exposes a database and a table. Our program needs to upload data into the table, and then from there on, the system should be able to grab those data and then use it for its business processing. So as a first step, right? We need a SQL Server, and then we need a SQL Server Management Studio to start with. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. The all the, as always, right? So all the URLs and the notes will be available in the description. You can free to take a look at that. All the code files and the database scripts will also be available in the description link. Go to this article. In this, right, you should see Express. This is a free edition of SQL Server that can be installed on any workstation and then use it. So go ahead and download this file and then install it on your workstation. Uh, I have captured the steps for installation steps in this documentation. I will share this document in the description. You can follow along and then get this piece installed. Once we have the SQL Server installed, um, let's go ahead, go to apps. Then if you go here, you should see this one, Microsoft SQL Server 2022. And within this, if you go to SQL Server 2022 Configuration Manager, open it up. Yep. Yeah, look at the services. You should see all the first four services should be up and running. If not, then go ahead and right click it and then run it to make sure, okay, all these services are running and in good state. The next piece is the SQL Server Management Studio. Uh, the Management Studio is like a uh, free development IDE, uh, free IDE that can be used to connect to the database, and then we should be able to fire queries to view data as well as update data as well as to manage the database. It's a very handy tool. Uh, let's go ahead and install it. So I'll share the yeah. Let's go. Yeah, I think yeah I have yeah it should be this one. Copy. Oh, hold on one second. Copy URL. Yeah, should be this URL. Yeah, it should show up a installation file, so you can download the installation file and then same way follow the wizard and then get it installed. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, download SSMS. That is SSMS stands for SQL Server Management Studio. Go ahead and install it, and then I have captured up the screenshot of the installation file. You can follow it and then get these second piece also installed. Once we have both the pieces installed, uh, let's go to your all apps. If you scroll down, then you should see under the SQL Server tools, you should see the SQL Server Management Studio. Click it, open it. Yeah, the server should be your server name slash SQL Express is the instance name. So yeah, it should auto-populate. If not, then you can actually construct the server name and use it. Make sure the encryption is optional, and then click connect. This should connect to the local instance. Uh, as a first step, right, as we discussed, right, the destination system exposes an staging table. Let's assume we're going to create those staging table, uh, and then a table staging database, and a table within that to upload the data. Let's go ahead and create a database name with the name staging. Let's right click it. Yeah, right click the database node, click on new database, put the name as staging, and then just leave it as is. We're not going to change anything. Click OK. Yeah, a new database is created. Just expand it. There should, yeah, it should be an empty database. And the next piece is right. So we discussed, right, we're gonna we have to insert the value of these four fields. So I need a table for it. So click on right click tables, new table. The first field is employee first name. So here, right, we cannot use space. So delete those space. Employee first name, data type as, so I'm going to make it as 500. So I'm not going to allow null. So null allow null is to allow the value or allow the null value to be inserted into the column. So we're not going to allow any null values. We're going to allow only the valid values. So we can have it before yeah, we started, right, I have to insert one more column. So there is a primary key, right? The primary key is like a unique key to identify each record. So so I'm gonna call it as employee ID, and then this should be an integer. Yeah, let's call it. It should not be null. There is another thing here. If you scroll down, there is identity specification, right? Within this first one, go to identity specification. So it should be an identity column, so that when you say identity, it means it should be a unique number. There shouldn't be any duplicate. So I'm going to say it's identity, and then it's going to start with 1, and then it's going to increment 1 plus 1. So first record is going to be starting with 1, and the second record is going to be 1 plus 1, 2. That's how it will progress. The next one is going to be employee name, last name. So yeah, I'll stick to this one. Same thing. And then the next one, department. So yeah, department, I don't need a 500. Maybe I can, this is the 500 represents the length of the character, the length of the string character that this column can hold. So let's make it 250. Okay, the last one should be role. Yeah, even this one I will make it as 250. So, and in this table, right, we have 5 columns. The employee ID is going to be the primary key. So make sure you right click this one, set it as a primary key. So you see this icon, so it represents this is going to be the primary key, and then the identification should be set, and then you can specify the rest of the 4 columns, and then all should be allow null. So the last piece is going to, I'm going to save it as save it, and then employee data. I'm going to call it as employee data. Let's go ahead and refresh it. It should, yep, it is there. That's good. Yeah, I'm going to fire a select query to make sure there is no data in this table. Okay, there is no data. Okay, the first thing, so first two steps are done. We have installed the database, and then we were able to create a, we have installed the SQL Server Express on our workstation, and then we were able to create a new database named staging, and then we have created a table named employee data. That's done. The next piece is, let's go to the article, entity framework, right? The next important one is entity framework. .NET provides a framework called entity, which is an object relational mapper that enables the developer to use the entity classes to access the data. So in the previous in the previous video, right, we were able to create our own model to hold the data, but that doesn't tied to a database. In this, right, you can see, right, employee data model. So we did create using our line of codes, but this can be used to connect to the table. So if you look at this one, right, all the columns will match the table here. The only exception is, right, there is no employee ID, so but rest of the fields should match. So this is the custom class that we created ourselves. But entity framework, right, provides a way to automate it. Let's assume you have like tens, like 20, 30, 40 tables within a database. We don't need to create our uh, the models explicitly. So entity framework provides a way to uh, create those models by just firing a command. That the command is called scaffold. Uh, and also, right, if you want to access the database, the framework already provides a easy way to access the database, and we don't need to write any in-depth coding to connect to the database. It's a very good package that we have to use it extensively. Let's get started. So let's go back to the code files. Let's close everything. We got we did create the different projects. So we in the last class we spoke about the DataMover.Data. This will talk to the database, right? So what we're going to do is, right, in this case, right, we're going to use the CLI commands, the command line interface commands, to install the entity framework, and then and then connect to the database that's being hosted here, right? Our local database. Okay, so first step is, right, let's navigate to the DataMover.Data project. So cd DataMover.Data. Okay, once this is done, I'm gonna install a couple of packages. The first one is going to be the entity framework itself. So this is the command that I'm going to use, .NET to install entity framework. It's going to take a while. Yeah, and then we have to install a few more packages. So it's going to be okay. So we got this. I did a copy of installation previously. That's why it's saying it's already installed. If it's going to be the first time, then you should not see this message. You should see a successful message. So this is done. The next piece is to install the new packages. So uh, yeah, in the next once I'm done with this, right, I'm going to explain the difference between .NET Framework and the .NET Core, and then the package concept comes in. Uh, the package is nothing but, right, so in the .NET world, in the .NET Core world, I would say, we will not get all the packages needed in a single bundle. So the .NET will provide only the needed SDKs, and then for our purpose, right, if we need anything specific, then there is a package. There is a concept called NuGet, um, where the independent libraries will be published. For example, in this case, right, we need an entity framework that will be available in the NuGet. Uh, we can go ahead and install those from the from that library. So most of the libraries are like a independent one where that can be downloaded and installed. This is this is the syntax to install this Entity Framework Core Design package. Let's go ahead and install it. Yep, it's thinking, so it's going to take some time to install it. So you can see this one, right? These are the yeah, it's able to, let's take a look at that one. So yeah, it's able to go to the, you can see this API NuGet.organization, right? That's the website. It holds all the NuGet packages. So it's able to connect to that one. You need internet connection to get to those, and then install it on your uh, local workstation or a local project. The next one is, right, uh, framework core. The same syntax, add new, that's .NET add package, entity framework core. Okay, same thing it did. So we're done with this one. Trying to clear. Come on, clear. The next one is to do a quick check to make sure that we got everything in our project. So let's do .NET. Yeah. So this is .NET. Yeah, that's entity framework. This will provide the versions and everything. So it's able to recognize this command. So that's cool. So we got the entity framework just on our machine, and then the packages on our data project. The next one is scaffolding. So uh, let's go back to the article. So uh, the scaffolding, right? So what is scaffolding? Scaffolding is like a reverse engineering. This concept is going to look at your database, and then if there are any tables within those database, it's going to create a model based out of those tables. Uh, for example, right? So as we discussed, right? So if you go to the model, the employee data model that we created manually, right? We don't want to do it, so we want to automate it. The scaffold provides a way to do it. That's the first piece. Then the next piece is, right, you need the connection to the database itself, and also access to all the schema objects. So uh, that class representation is called database context. That database context will also be created as part of the scaffolding. Yeah, this are, if you go through this, uh, if you go through this one, it has all the informations that is needed. So we're going to look at the uh, scaffold command. So let's open it up. Let's do a word wrap quickly. Okay, that's fine. Um, so this is the standard command. So database, so .NET, and then we're going to use the entity framework, and then this is the command, database context, and then scaffold. So this is the connection. The first piece is going to be the connection string. The connection string is, right, we're going to provide the server name. In this case, right, this is going to be the server or whatever. If you go back to this SSMS, right, you can see this, the top node that represents your the SQL Server instance. So grab that and put it here. And the next is the database. The database is the staging that we created. So it is staging, and then the trust connection should be true. We are not going to do any encryption, so make it as no. Then we're going to use this entity framework code.SqlServer. This is the package that we are going to use. So pass this one package because this is the package that's going to do the scaffold. The next one is it's going to create. This is going to create the models, right? The model should be stored somewhere, so that's where the output directory comes in. You can actually, whenever you're executing this command, to make sure, okay, this path is changed and it should be reflected based on your local folder path. Make sure you update this path. Within this path, okay, so because we have created this path, but uh, let me show it to you. So go back here. So we did create, we had only bash project, and then we did create 3 more projects in the last video, right? So we did have this, we want the model goes to this folder. That's what this location says. You go to this folder and then dump all the uh, entity classes here. In this case, right, we're going to have only one class file. So, and then the namespace we talked about. So this is the namespace that the models are going to have. And and then the next piece is the table parameter that's going to specify uh, the table name that we are going to scaffold. So in this case, right, we're going to scaffold the employee data. So this this will make sure we will have a class created for this table, employee data. And then the context. The context is the one uh, that will provide access to the database itself. For example, if you want to insert a query or select a query, uh, insert a record, I'll do a select and an update. Everything should happen via the context. The context handles all the database interactions. So I call the context as employee data context. If you want to change it, go ahead and change it. So this should be the one, the context directory. Context directory should be the data folder, the data project. So because as I told, the data project is the one that's going to interact with the SQL Server. And then the namespace, and then -f is going to be the force. So let's go ahead and run this one. Let's do it. Let's do a clear. Okay. Okay, let's look. Okay, I did fire it. So it's running. Okay, I'm just waiting for it to finish. Looks like I missed one of another package. Let's try again. So it should be this one. So let's do .NET add package, the syntax and the name of the package. So let's see. Okay, let it complete, and then we can try the scaffold command one more time. Okay, looks good. Let's do a clear. Let's try it one more time. Okay, this is fine. So this connection string says, okay, your connection string is not safe. That I'll explain why it is. So, okay, the first thing is writing the data. Let's go to the data project. Uh, you see this data context. So this is the context that directly interacts with the database. So this is the scaffold command has created this one. The second piece is right the connection string here, right? Where it's being passed inside as a clear text or the hard coded value. So that's what it combines. That's fine in this for this model, right? Let's keep for this example, let's keep it as is. The next piece is that you can see, right? Yeah, it created the mapping and everything. Uh, so it says, okay, a hash key. This represents the primary key. Employee ID is the primary key for for this table. It created its own name. It doesn't matter. It should be employee data, uh, but it did change it to datum. That should be fine. So it knows, okay, employee data represents employee data within the database. Uh, so okay, we got the context. We have the model here. This is the data model. We can take a look at this model. This one is more accurate because it did add employee ID, the primary key within this. This is the model that we created. We are not going to use it, but I will clear it up at the end of this exercise. Um, okay, we have this one. The next piece is, right. Uh, in .NET, right, we have two things. We call it a .NET framework that was created like 2 decades back. Uh, we started with .NET version, I think 1.0 everything. That's the classic version of the .NET framework that we have been using for a while. That actually, if you develop a application using .NET framework, then that application will run only on the Windows platform. If you that is like on a Windows operating system. If you try to execute that application on a Linux or a Mac platform, it's not going to work. So it's not like platform independent. It's like it doesn't work on cross platform. To overcome this, Microsoft created a new framework called .NET Core. The .NET Core purpose is to make sure the app works on multiple platforms or cross platforms. So this application we have created using .NET Core. This should, if we get a chance, maybe we can try it out. Maybe in the later exercise or a Linux box or something to test it out, whether this application works in Linux platform. Yeah, we could try that one. Uh, so that's the reason the .NET Core was invented, and then right now it's being widely used. Okay, the next piece is the next piece is let's take a look at the program .cs file. Here, right, if you look at it, right, this is the entry point, and then the first line of the logic, right, this is the parse um, file manager program, right. This is the first line of the logic where we start here and then we do our the application logic. Uh, to start it, right, we have created an instance of the class and then we invoke the method. This is this way of writing is used in .NET Framework Classic version. So in .NET Core, right, .NET Core provides an option called hosting and then the dependency injection that will simplify this process extensively. Let's start with hosting. What is hosting? So the concept of .NET Core, right, mostly involves around the Azure cloud and also with the latest web applications. So a lot of these things will will work greatly in web application as well as the cloud-based application, but it may not be suitable for .NET uh, Core console application. But still, right, we could go ahead and leverage those concepts. Now, one of the concept is hosting. The second one is dependency injection. We're going to use it. We'll start with hosting. What is hosting? Okay, here, right, it says, right, uh, hosting library provides the methods that are responsible for application startup and lifetime management. It does take care of everything, including dependency injection, logging, and configurations, everything. So if you use this library and then set it up, configure it correctly, then we should be able to leverage the features like logging, and then if you end up in using Azure AD authentications and then a lot of other stuff, scoop stuffs, we could we could be able to use it pretty quickly using this hosting concept. So in this example, right, they created a simple example, right? So we're going to use this host builder and then configure the services and then do a run. So same thing we're going to do it here. Before that, right, we need to install a couple of packages. Let's go back to the applications. We are in data project. Let's go back one step back, and then we're going to go to the data mover dot patch. This is the entry of the this is the entry point of the application. Same concept, same thing. So we're going to do mm, .NET add package. Yeah, we're going to add this package here. Hosting. Okay, since we are already here, so we spoke about dependency injection. I'll explain what is dependency injection. Let's go ahead and install the package. You see it's under the extension, Microsoft extension dependency injection. Let's go ahead and install it. The third piece is the Entity Framework Core. Let's install it and then I'll walk through the need for all three packages. Okay, it's running. Yep. So for the hosting package, right? The hosting package, as I said, right? We want to do the life cycle, the management, application management, uh, startup, and the lifetime management. Both can be done using using the library hosting. That's where Microsoft extension.hosting is a package that we need to install that we did. Um, let's go back here. So I'm gonna comment this out. Let's comment it out. So comment if you're not familiar, if you do these statement will not part of the compilation as well as runtime. This will be treated as just a comment, so it will not be executed. So done with this one. The first thing we're gonna do is right. So gonna add the namespace. We're gonna use using statement and then the packages that we need to include in the project. So it should be extension dot hosting. Yeah, this is the one we're going to use. Let's say I host builder. We're going to create a builder object. It comes with the class, static class, I believe. So it exposes this method, create. We're going to use this create default builder to create a builder object. Once you when this piece is done, the next piece is to configure the services. So for the dependency injection, right? uh, so what is dependency injection? So first, we're gonna take a look at that one. Okay, this one, and then I can share one more link that will be very useful. Yeah, yeah. 1 second. So dependency injection. Um, Dependency injection is a concept to provide dependency of a class via construction parameter, properties, or configuration method rather than creating them within the class. For example, right, let's go back to our example here, right? This is exactly it. So if you want to if you want to access a method, the first step is to create an instance of that class that's called object, and then use that object to use that object to call that method. This method is, yeah, this way is tightly coupled, and then we will not be able to reuse the code, and also we will not be able to uh, decouple it and then test it independently. So that's where the concept called dependency injection came in, where uh, the the hosting service is going to take care of creating the object like this one. uh, the cool way is, right, if you want to access the object, right, we should be able to use the constructor to get a copy of the object and then use it straight away. So that's one of the cool features of dependency injection. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So for all so uh, for everything, right, for all the data packages in .NET Core, they call it as a services. So we're going to do a configure service, and then the syntax is this one. We're going to do a context and services, and then close it. Uh, we're going to replicate this one. The first thing is, right, we don't want to create an object here. So what I'm going to do is, right, services. This is the, yeah. Let me go ahead and fix this one issue. So okay, it should be like this. Right? Okay, so I may be missing the dependency injection here. Let's go ahead and add dependency injection. Okay, builder dot configure service. Let's clean it up. Let's try one more time. Yeah, before that, right, I just want to make sure. Let's do a .NET build to make sure there are no other errors. It's fine. We have only the warnings. We can skip it. We can, yeah, this is okay because it says it's not being used. That should be okay. Okay, this is good. So let's go to builder dot. We want to use configure services. First, I have to create the, so it says it provides a cool syntax, the IntelliSense. We need to pass a context and the delegate. Just create a context, and then the next piece is this services. Okay. Okay. So this is the syntax. So you need to pass context and a service, and then yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time to familiarize with the syntax. Right now, just follow along. Once you get used to it, you will be able to get a handle of the syntax and the right way of using things. I'm gonna everything is called as, services, right? I want to create a instance of the file manager. So if you go to services, and then there are a lot of cool features provided by dependency injections. We could initialize dbcontext, or we could initialize a class. If you want to initialize a class, then we could use there are two things. There are a couple of options. if you go here, right, there are scopes, right? Singleton, transients, and scope. Singleton will be used if you want to create an object only once. In this case, right, in a console application, we're going to create only once. You're going to use that option. Add singleton, add singleton, and then I'm going to use the, I want to initiate an object for this class, right? So, okay, let's do this piece, and then the next one is going to be I have to create a host. Host. This builder. The first piece I have created a builder object, and then I configure a service, and the next piece is to set the lifetime. So use console lifetime, and then do a build. Okay, this is done. So I'll be using this. This it says add singleton. This class needs to be the object for this class needs to be initialized only once. That's what the statement says. The next piece is right. I have the host that is ready, but I want to create I want to get an instance of an object, so similar to this one, so that I can access this method. So uh, it should come via host everything, because host provides the lifecycle management, right? Host, yeah, everything is services. All the classes will be accessed as services. Dot. Uh, there's a method called get required service, and then I have to provide the class name. I have, I have to create an object. Var here, right? It represents this should not be key service. It should be service. Var represents is like a dynamic variable, dynamic type where it can hold an object of any type. If you don't, I could actually create a type of file manager. It will still work like this. This is also fine. Because I'm going to this piece of code is going to create an instance of file manager and return it. This way it's going to work. So let's go with this one. So file manager app, then app dot pass dot get method, pass this variable. Uh, yeah, it looks overcomplicated here, because this looks very simple, but right, if you end up going to a .NET, if you end up creating an ASP.NET application or a Blazor application, then this is going to be the key, because there, right, we might be end up using a lot of services and a lot of other things, dependencies that needs to be loaded. We don't want to use this one. So the hosting will provide a good way of handling all the dependencies, and also the lifetime management of the application. So uh, this, learn this one. This is going to be extensively useful for you in future. I think let's go ahead and yeah, here, .NET. I'm going to do a build. Yeah, so I'm going to just do a .NET run. I don't want to debug the application. Yeah, there it is. It's able to grab the data and display it. Yeah, so we understood the dependency injection, right? So this, yeah, first part I've understood. So this one services piece, so the singleton piece, singleton is going to create the object only once, and then once we have the object, we should be able to uh, call the the first step of your logic. Actually, the first step of your the logic is parse file and get data method. So we are able to get it done. The next one is right. So uh, yeah, we can do this one. So actually, so we need access to the database. The access to the database. So we want to same way. So we want the database context object. Uh, and we could still use dependency injection. Dependency injection will will create an object of this database context. So we need to use this extension method database context, and then we need to provide a class name. So it should be employee data context. So yeah, let me build it, and then I'm going to show you how it is going to be useful. So I have this one. Let's go back to the business. Yeah, we spoke, right? The business layer is the one that will have. Sorry, the service layer is the one that's going to directly talk to the database. So we already have this class. So but I'm going to create an interface type. Interfaces, right? Interface is it's a see in C#.NET, right? We have object-oriented concept where interface is a very important thing, where it provides ability to encapsulate the classes. Say, for example, I have a class in that we have public methods and the private methods. If I want to expose only a limited set of methods to the outside world or to the other layers, then I could end up using interface. So let's go ahead and create an interface. So I'm going to do a so interface, right? The normal way of doing is, right. The interface should always start with I, and then it should the rest of the keyword should be similar to the class file, and then do a CS. Let's do a so let's start with the namespace. This should be DataMover.Services. Yep, services. That's good. Will be a public. The interface keyword represents it's an interface, and then it should be yeah. Let me grab this one. So data injection. Okay. If we are if I have an interface, I have to inherit the interface. I will provide the documentation in the description. You can go through it, understand it. In this, right, I have a method called ingest data. Uh, so I am going to uh, I have to tweak a little bit, but still, right, I'm going to still go with this option. So yeah, let's okay. So in the interface, right, I will have the signature of the method. So it's going saying, hey, the method I'm going to expose is going to have this is the type, and then this is the name of the method. This is the input parameter it's going to take, and also the implementation will follow the same thing. Only the thing is, right, whether this method is going to be a public or it should be always public, yeah, or protected, whatever. I've did this one. So let's go back to the dependency injection, right? The dependency injection. This is a class that's going to interact directly with the database. So we spoke about the constructor, right? So before that, right, I'm gonna say I need to create a context object that will provide the ability to interact with the SQL Server. So the context name is employee data. Okay, okay, employee data context. So I'm gonna start with the underscore here to represent the local copy. The constructors should always start with the keyword public, and then it should be the same name as it should have same name as the class name. It can have parameters or it may not. In this case, right, I want a copy of the employee data context, right? So here, right, if you look at, I'm not creating an object using the new keyword. So I'm gonna use the parameter constructor. I'm gonna get the parameter, use the parameters to get a object, copy of the object. There is no way the new keywords are being used. That's where the dependency injection comes in. The dependency injection, right? The framework handles everything. It will create an object. It knows, okay, based on the constructor and then the, the parameters that's being passed, it understands, okay, the object of this type needs to be created and passed to this constructor. So let's let's assign it to the local copy. I get a copy from the dependency injection. I want to assign it to the local copy so that I can use it within my methods. So we got this one done. Okay. Uh, but okay, yeah, let's have this one. Let's test it out. So I have this one. The other, okay. So let's go back to the file manager again. Here, right? Once again, here, same thing. I have the dependency injection, right? I have to use the dependency injection. I don't want to use the, the traditional, the classic way of creating a object. So here, right, you see this new. I don't want to use it. So we'll use the same concept. So okay. So when we, yeah, this is where the yeah, this is where the interface comes handy. So let's go back to the data ingestion service. Okay, I'm going to start with the interface, meaning okay, this if I going to get an object of type of this interface, only the expose methods will be available to be used. Not the other methods will not be available. That's called the encapsulation. I'm going to use okay. Same way, I'm going to use underscore to represent it's a local copy. Same concept. I have to create a constructor, file manager. The dependency injection will give me a copy of this one. So I could use the data injection direct. I can use this one. Data ingestion servers, assign it to the local copy. Yeah, let's use this one. It should, yeah, ingest data. I can access the ingest data this way. Okay, so everything should be fine. So I would get a uh, copy of the database context here. Yeah, let's debug through it. So I don't want to break here. Yeah, remove the breakpoints. Okay, that build. Okay, let's debug it. So I can show you how it works. So okay, we have it here. Okay, cool. It says, okay, hey, I'm not able to, yeah, this is where the dependency injection comes in. Service concept considered, all the classes are considered as a service. So I have to register um, this service first. Yeah, let's go ahead and register the service. I'm going to use the scope because whenever there's a request, the object needs to be created. So here, right, since we have the interface, the first piece should be the interface. So the second piece should be the class name. Digestion service. Okay, so let's run it again. So please, right, this time injection, the dependency injection should be able to create an object and then pass it to the constructor. Let's give a try. Okay, let me do IFI. Yeah, it did. So cool. So here, right, if you scroll, hover over this one, right, you can see, okay, this is part of the entity framework, and then yeah, it's able to have a lot of, yeah, if you go to database, yeah, okay, let's go back here one more time. We go to database, yeah, you should be able to see, okay, more information, okay, which database it connects to. All other cool stuff will be available here. So we got a copy of the database context via database, via the data dependency injection. Yeah. Okay, so let's do F5. So it's able to do everything. Cool. So this way, right, we figured out, okay, how the dependency injection works. All the classes are represented as services. The first thing we need to do is we have to register the services, uh, and the registrar configure the services, both the same services. And then that for the hosting, right, we need to identify the first line of your logic, and then invoke that logic so that the application can start from there. This represents this. Okay, so let's go back here. Injection. This is good. So we have the data here. Uh, so I'm going to tweak a little bit. Let's go back here. There is a concept called asynchronous programming. This is very powerful. Asynchronous, right? So right now, right, this is very powerful in web applications because, right, you want the screen should be responsive as faster as fast possible, right? We don't want a slow hanging screens. So that's where the asynchronous programming comes in, where uh, we want a piece of a code that needs to be run on a background so that the UI can continue its processing. That's a concept of asynchronous, but uh, we're gonna still continue to use it in the console application. It's a very like it's not very relevant in this case, but still, right? It's a very good practice to learn when you are learning a web application. It's going to be very handy. So to create a asynchronous method, we're going to use this keyword async. This identify, okay, this method is going to be the asynchronous method, and then there is a task. Task is just a block of code that needs to be executed. Uh, so in this case, right, we are saying, okay, this piece of code needs to be created as a task and executed in an asynchronous way. And then I'm going to return a integer. So I'll show you what is going to be. Uh, this is going to be the signature. So I'm going to update this, delete this one, and then add it here. So this is going to be new signature. Let's go back here. Okay. Um, so it's expecting a return type. So I'm going to go ahead and comment this out. Teacher result count equal to -1. Uh, yeah, I'll tell you what is this used for. For time being, right? Let's assume. Okay, it's gone. So this is gone. So what is this? Ingest data. This, no, right. Okay, that's cool. The next is right. What it be? Yeah, we could use the same loop. Uh, yeah, let me grab this one. Okay, let me grab the first statement. So in the last video we spoke about the for loop, right? What we are trying to do is, right, we're going to iterate the collection and then grab each value, and then we were assigning to this the user defined model, but we're not going to use this model. We're going to use the model that's being created by was created by the scaffolding. That's going to be employee data. So yeah, go employee equal to, yeah, here we have to initialize an object of type employee data. So we are using the new keyword. The dependency injection, right? So there are two pieces. If a service, right, needs to be injected into a particular class, that's where the dependency injection comes in. And then within the method, right, if we need to create an instance of a model, right, for a model, right, we will not be able to use dependency injection. We have to use the new keyword to instantiate the model type. So this way, right, same concept as above. So I should be able to, if you click that, it should provide all the uh, column names. So here, right, employee first name as here specified here, right? Uh, so the data will be available as a string. Have to, those are comma separated, right? So we have to split the string. I'll show you how it's going to look like. Go splitter data of new. These are the local variables, right? We have to use new operator, new keyword to initialize, instantiate those uh, objects. So splitter data equal to, let's this one, right? Here this is the data, right? So all this is the one single string, and the string has comma separated with the values. So I want to split the string into individual values so that it can be put into a appropriate values here, right? John is the first name, A should go to the last name, IT should go to the department, data engineer should be the role. So that's what we're trying to do. So my index dot, I think there's a function called split. It should say, okay, based on which identifier I'm going to split. I'm going to use the comma to split the values, and then I'm going to convert into a list. So splitted data. So splitted data should have all four values. Oh yeah, yeah, I can show you that. That's fine. So let's go back here, terminal. Let's go to do a clear .NET build. Okay, .NET build. Okay, let's go ahead and debug it. Yeah. Okay, let's do a, okay, let me give a breakpoint here or here. Okay, what's toggle breakpoint? It's there. For some reason, right? It doesn't show up. Okay, let's see what happens. Go here. Okay, there it is. Oh, it's showing up here. Okay, so we have the employee data. It should have 3 rows. Once I split it, let's hover over the splitted data. See this one, right? 0 index will have John, 1 have A, and then 2 IT, 3 is data engineer. That's good. So we are able to split the string. So then we should be able to assign the values correctly in the appropriate fields. Let's finish it off. It's going to iterate multiple times. Okay. Here it's done. As I showed you, so this is done. Split data. I'm going to start with the index 0, and then the next one is going to be employee data. Last name, and then the next one is role. Okay. The last one, oh, the next one is department. Okay. The last one should be role. Okay, so we have the object created, then the next piece is right. So the employee object is there. So this record needs to be inserted into the database, right? That's where we spoke, right? When you want to interact with the database, the data context comes handy. So uh, we're going to make an entry. So it's going to be the entry method, and then which type is going to be the employee data type. So pass the type, and then there's a state property. What are we trying to do? So we're going to do entity state dot added. So we're going to add this one. So we could grab the data from the list, split it out, assign the variables, assign it to the properties, and then saying, hey, this is going to be the new record that needs to be inserted. So data context, right? We'll use entity framework. Entity framework is going to keep track of all the changes. Like if you're gonna if you're gonna add a new record, it will keep it in the buffer, keep it ready until right you wanna fire it to the database and do an commit. Uh, then if you want to do a commit, we have to use the await. If you are using async, there is an await method should be used. Await tells okay, uh, the whenever there is an await, right? And let me complete this one, and then I'll tell you how it works. Employee data context that save changes. We're gonna use async method, and then this one, right? Save changes will give you the number of records that's being impacted. In this case, right, we have 3 rows. It should get a count as 3. Uh, so let's go back to the article. Yeah, we spoke about task, right? Task is like a block of code that needs to be executed asynchronously. Then we can use uh, task. Let's yes, asynchronous program. If you go through it, you can see right it will have a good explanation about await, what it does. So await, right, usually works well when you are using a ASP.NET web application, right, where you have your UI components, and then the background you want to load some data. So the moment, right, so for example in this case, right, in the button click, these function needs to be executed. If the user clicks the button, but still, right, the UI component will be very much accessible, and then all the data will very much accessible. It will not hang, so it will be working very well. So because, right, uh, once the CLR sees await, the control will be go back to the UI thread. So see, the UI thread is now free to perform the other work. It will continue to perform the work, but behind the scene, that is like behind the background, right, asynchronous behind the scene, the action will complete. Once the action completes, right, the thread will come back to this point, and then it will load the data, and then the rest of the sequence will happen. So it's like a very complex thing, but you will learn it. But right now, right, just follow the syntax, follow along. This is very, very important. If you are in the .NET Core world, right, async and then awaits are the very important features that will be used extensively. We're going to use the same thing. Say, hey, when it says await, right, since we don't have uh, any UI, but still, right, I'll show you show you the difference, uh, show you the difference how it works. So here, right, so I'm just want to make sure print this one. So do a dollar result count, right? Let's print the result count. Okay. Uh, so everything looks good. Let me go ahead and build it. And then build. Oops, that's it. Okay, so okay, so we can go ahead and debug it. So yeah, let's just want to make sure. we have this one, so we have to tweak a little bit here. Say, right, we change the ingest into an asynchronous method. So if you want to call an asynchronous method, it's a different syntax. Um, so integer row affected, because I want to see how many mm, rows are affected, uh, how many rows are inserted technically. So since we spoke, right, the asynchronous method, nothing but a task. So I'm going to create a variable called task. So if you go to task class provides an option to run an asynchronous method. So I'm going to say task.run. I'm going to specify I'm going to run a asynchronous uh, method. So this is the syntax async and the and then this lambda expression. Yeah. Row affected equal. So I'm going to same thing. If I'm calling a asynchronous method, I have to use white. Uh, it should be this one. So we'll copy this one. Yeah, I think it looks good. I'm going to do one more console that right line. I'm going to say ingestion complete. Say row affected. Okay, we got the dollar. Let's do a dollar. Okay. Okay. So let's do it in. I'm going to do a result. I'll show you the difference later. So first, start with the result. Uh, what happens is, right, it's going to see, even though it's asynchronous method right here, right, it will wait until all the data gets uh, yeah, it's going to await. This await will be you when you say result right from here. This is where it's going to impact this await. When I say it's going to result, what it's going to do is, right, it's going to insert all the data into the SQL Server, wait for the number of number of rows impacted, that's being the number of rows are inserted, and then get this value, and then it will come back, and then it will from that, if you say result, right, it's going to be uh, from this statement, the rest of the statement will be executed sequentially. That's what it is. So I'm going to explain it later when we debug through it. Let's go with the result, right? If it is going to be result, we'll get the value. It will display this here as well as it will display here. And then we go back and then fire this query, then all the three rows should be inserted into the table. Now let's go ahead. Build. Okay. Uh, let's not debug it. Let me run it so it will be easy. If we do that, because since we are using asynchronous, right, uh, the cursor will be going back and forth. It will be really confusing. I'm going to do a .NET run. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's thinking. So okay, good. See this one, even the yeah, you could if you would have debugged it, that's fine. Even here, right, you could see what's happening, right? It's inserting the values. You can see the insert uh, insert queries. You see this one, result count equal to 3. So here, right, it displayed this line, and then the same value. It's able to hold it here, and then the same values are getting displayed here. The important thing is right here, this one executed, boom. So we were able to insert three records into the three records into the employee data. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the result here. And then I'm going to add a statement console dot write line, make it as calling method and calling dot waiting. And I'm going to create a sleep. I want the application to wait for 10 seconds, some maybe 7 to 10 seconds, so that the background insert get completes. I don't want the application to quit before the insert happens. So there is a threading dot thread dot sleep method. You can do it. So let's say new time span 0, 0, 0, 0. So yeah, if you look at the time span, it's to create a time. If you want to create a time span, so time span gives you a time the the this thread needs to sleep. So I want this thread to sleep for 7 seconds. So hour is going to 0, minute 0, and then 07 represents seconds. Okay, so I think good. So what I'm expecting is right. So this was the previous thing. So what happened is right. So we call this method is getting called, and then if there is a dot result, it becomes uh, from this call it becomes synchronous. The call will go here, and then it will execute all the inserts. Since we said dot result, it will wait for the result count from the back from the SQL Server. Once we get the result count back, then the sequence will go back to the calling method, and then sequence, yeah, right here, right, the result count, we got the result count directly, and then it will go back to the calling method, and then we are displaying this console. So that was the case for the dot result, but we took out the dot result. It's going to be asynchronous, you say asynchronous. What I'm expecting is that uh, before even the insert get executed, I would see this calling method waiting on the screen, and then the thread will wait, and then this insert will happen, and then the result code will get displayed. Yeah, let's test it out. Clear. So let's go back here to the SQL Server. I want to make sure, okay, I got 3 records. So let's do a .NET run. Okay, there it is. So you see this one, right? Before even the insert happened uh, on the SQL Server, right? So we got the control back here, calling method waiting, and then the insert happens asynchronously, and then since we waited, and then we got the value back, and then we are getting displayed. So I'm going to show you the code the snippet that I took it previously. You can see this one, right? So after the Kevin C sales representative, okay, the call went back to calling method, and then yeah, insert happens, and the result count gets displayed. That's the difference. If you do a result dot result, it will turn into a synchronous. It will wait for the execution to complete, and then it will get the result back. If there is no dot result, it's going to be pure asynchronous, and then you need to make sure the application waits for some time so that the background job completes, and then the values are displayed. This concept will be really helpful during the web app development. But right now, right, it's a good learning. Um, I think we have completed the application successfully. If you have followed along, and then if you are able to complete this application on your end, then you did really a very good job. That's really a very good beginning. I I hope this is going to be a very good jump start. I think you should be able to build on top of this and then try it out different option. The one of the assignment I maybe I could suggest is try to create a method that gets data from the database and then display it on the console. If you could do that one, then you you moved a step ahead in learning. Uh, I think, yeah, this is going to be a long video, I understand. So maybe like take 20 minutes, uh, 20 minutes of time, complete that part, take a break, do 20 minutes, then 20 minutes, so that right, you get enough time to learn, try it out, and then you complete it. Once again, right, all the links will be in the description. The code files and the screenshots also will be provided. The screenshot documents will be in the GitHub, and you should be able to verify it for the installation of SQL Server and then SSMS. If you have any question, post it on the comment section. When I get a chance, I'll reply back. Thank you all. Have a good one. See you next time.